During a high school class project, my teacher told me it's unrealistic being a CEO. It's been my dream to be a CEO since I was 10. So I told her, it is realistic. Follow me on my journey to learn what it takes to become a CEO. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Realistic CEO podcast. Today I'm here with Kristi Reale. How you doing today, Chris?
I'm good, Mike. How are you?
I'm great. So I just want to thank you for coming on and taking the time out of your day to allow me to interview you. So,
My pleasure. Thank you for coming.
appreciate you. So can you tell us a little bit about what you do here at Myers Brothers Kalicka?
So I am a CPA and I am a partner. So my number one job here is to manage a book of clients and a team. And we help local businesses succeed and try to partner and become consultants with them. My favorite part of my job, though, that I do, and I speak about this often, is mentoring the younger staff. Like, my goal before I retire is to make sure the next generation is in place. And that's really what I do on a day-to-day. Besides, we do more than crunch numbers, where we try to be advisors and consultants and help businesses.
So can you tell us a little bit about your background and like your journey of how you got to where you are today?
Sure. I was probably your typical kid that didn't know what I wanted to do in high school. I was on the college prep course. Like, I knew I wanted to go to school, just wasn't sure for what. So we had to take an elective senior year in high school, and it was limited to what you could take if you were on the college prep course. And one of them was accounting. And I was like, all right, I'll try that. And I really liked it. So I applied to schools. I got in. I declared my major as a first semester freshman, graduated with an accounting degree in 4 years, and started with a regional firm in Worcester right out of school. I was an intern there first, and then met my husband, who is from Western Mass, and so wasn't I. So I came back and diverted a little way through a different firm, but I've been with Myers Brothers Kalicka since 2001.
Nice. You didn't really know what you wanted to do, but you knew you wanted to go to college to get an education.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
Yeah. So what kind of guided you to like accounting though?
I always liked math, and I don't know, I just got it. Like, I hate to say it was easy, because it wasn't easy when you got into college, but I liked it. Like, when I did it in high school, I was like, this makes sense. There was one plus the other, and it really made sense to me. So that's what I did.
Yeah. For the people that might not know what they want to do, like they're fresh out of high school, like you said, you didn't really understand. So how are some ways that you're able to find the type of career that you know you want to get into?
That's a really good question. I guess it's, what are you passionate or interested in? For example, when I was younger, I could not walk into a hospital without feeling nauseous. So I was like, yeah, I don't think nursing is for me. And even to this day, I've improved a lot over the years, but I can't do it. I also knew some things. I never liked science in school, and I had to have a tutor in biology. So I knew anything science medical was not for me. So then it was what worked for me. I liked math. It made sense. I did not want to sit in an office all day, though, and crunch numbers, which is why I liked public accounting, because we used to go, we still do, but we go to client meetings, we go out in the field, we do things. And then you're not working on the same thing like I work on probably 10 different clients every day. So it makes it interesting. In addition, learning about business and various businesses is really cool. So you just never know. I know about CNC program. I don't know how to do it, but I know how it works, and like the whole manufacturing aspect. And yet I understand how medical practices bill, and we work on law firms, insurance agents, not-for-profit. So it's neat to experience all different types of entities.
So for you, you knew you wanted to be an accountant, but you knew you didn't want to just do the same business over and over again. So you enjoy accounting, but you also enjoy the social aspect.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. There are times where I know I have to sit at my desk and work for several hours, and that's fine. But I like the fact that some days more than others, but that my phone rings all day long, and I get a lot of emails and a lot of text messages from various people. I knew I didn't want to go to one company and close the books every month. And that wasn't me. But some people it works for them and they really like it. Here, what I like more is our firm encourages our team to be a team atmosphere, but we encourage mentoring, we encourage soft skills, we encourage being on boards, we encourage giving back to the community. And so you get that beyond just crunching numbers.
You enjoy being able to work with multiple companies,
Yeah.
but like, how are you able to manage it so that you're able to have every company having the books the way that they want it to look like?
Lots of education, of training, a good team, training your team, and a lot of patience. It's not the same every day. And sometimes new team members struggle with they think everybody should be the same, but just like people, not everything's the same. We all have to follow the same rules and laws, but everybody's a little unique, including every business is a little unique.
Can you tell us a little bit how you were able to become a partner? You didn't start as a partner, so how were you able to become a partner?
No, you don't start as a partner. Once the honest answer is the first couple firms I worked, there was very few females in manager roles. And I came here to what was then Myers Brothers before it was MBK, and I saw a woman as a partner. I saw a lot of women as managers. And I was like, wow, there's room for growth here. And plus, I loved the culture and the environment. So the first thing I did was I was never encouraged to pass the CPA exam. I worked for Myers Brothers less than a year, passed it all, got my CPA license. Then I went on and got my CVA license to do business valuations. And then I had to prove myself. And the best way to prove yourself is to work really hard. And I was determined to outwork everyone else. Yes, I did work a lot, and that's not always the best way. But the other thing I did was I spoke up. This is what I want. How do I get there? What is my path? And it was like, it's not just hard work. It's marketing. It's writing articles. It's sales. It's mentoring staff. And that, a little bit of luck, and it happened in 2017. So
Congratulations.
thank you.
So what is a CPA? Like you said, you got your CPA license and CVA. So what are those?
CPA license is Certified Public Accountant, which is when I took it, it was a 2-day test. Now it's 4 different parts. It's not the easiest exam to pass. And you need a certain educational and experience amount. And then every 2 years, I need 80 hours of education to maintain it, including 4 hours of ethics. CVA is a Certified Valuation Analyst, which means I can perform business valuations. So if someone dies and they own a business, you need the value of the business to put on like an estate return or gift tax return. Sometimes it's a divorce. Sometimes it's a buy-sell, that sort of thing.
So when you went to get those licenses, was that kind of like a motivating factor of you wanting to increase your knowledge, or was it more like, okay, this is something I just want to have?
It increased my knowledge. The CPA license was something I wanted to have. It's looked at highly. I'm a licensed professional. If you were to hire someone to build your house, you'd want a licensed professional, not just someone who went to Home Depot. And no disrespect to them. They work hard. It has some encouragement. I knew to be a partner in this, I had to be a CPA. The CVA came as an interest with some other partners that were working on it, and they needed help on their team.
I liked how you talked about you wanted to stay at this firm because you seen that there was women in leadership roles. So what was like the difference between the other firms that you realized that maybe this is the firm that you want to stay with?
The first firm, it's definitely different now. So I'm not disrespecting, I'm not naming it. They've merged multiple times now. They're one of the national firms, and there are plenty of women in leadership roles. In 1993, it was a whole different story. They were all middle-aged men, and they weren't going anywhere, and they weren't promoting anyone. So you maybe could get to manager, but that was as high as it went back then. Then in the middle, I took a little divert to a sole proprietor, and there wasn't really room for growth there at all. And that's why I left and went to. But, in 2001, there still weren't a lot of female partners out there. Now, there's probably more women in this industry than there are men. But Go figure. And again, I think the best person to do the job should get the job. But sometimes you don't want to be held back just because you weren't born a certain gender.
So why do you just said now you're starting to see that there's more women in this field. So why do you think it's changing?
It's a good question. Some of it was what we do, depending on where you are. It's easy to have a reduced schedule if you need it. If you come in with that, here's my hours. Some of it is, I think that they just see the encouragement of how many women are growing in this profession and growing that way. I don't know why there was a decrease in men. I can tell you this past year that we do internships every year. This past year, our tax interns, we had 4. They were all male. And our A&A interns so far, we have 2. They are male. I don't know why. We picked the best candidates. That's just who applied. So it might be flipping a little, or it's probably pretty even, but not sure. There were other years we had all females. I don't know why, but whoever applies.
What has been your favorite moment so far working in this industry?
Besides when I got promoted, that was pretty exciting. And I liked how I was tag teamed with my partner, Jim, because we got promoted together. So it was nice to celebrate with each other. But honestly, my favorite moments are celebrating others. So I couldn't have been more ecstatic when Matt got promoted to partner. I think it was last year. And he was like 34 years old. And I thought that was amazing. And then we just went to 40 under 40 and 2 of our rock stars just got it. And it was so cool to see that. And like good things like that every day. Like one of my team members, she's very young, just came in. She passed all 4 parts of the exam on her first try. And so huge hug, huge shout out. And she's, would you give me a recommendation to get my license? I'm like, absolutely. You'll have it today. So as soon as we're done, that's next on my plate. So things like that, it's not like one giant thing. I would think the most memorable is when I actually became an income partner and then an equity partner. That was pretty cool. But
so for the people that want to get into this industry, become an accountant, what is some of the advice that you would give to them?
I would strongly suggest an internship. There's plenty of them out there because there's different sections of the field, and maybe do an internship in public where I am and maybe one in private and see if you like it, because you have to do what you like and what you're passionate about. And if I can give you one quick example, my niece went to school and graduated with a 4.0 in accounting. Graduated in May, started an internship with PwC, who's an international firm, and hated every single minute of it. And they tell her to go back to school for 6 months because at the time you needed a 5th year to become a CPA, and she has a job in January. Her mom works at Bay State. She shadowed her mom's friend as a nurse and was like, this is what I want to do. So what this young lady did, she went home and told her mom, look, I'm going to work really hard. I'm going to pay off my student debt, but then I'm going back to school to be a nurse. So she went to work in February of 2020, full time. In March of 2020, she went remote full time. In a year and a half, she paid off all her student debt. She passed the CPA exam and she got promoted. And then she gave her notice and went to the accelerated nursing program and just got Rookie of the Year at the hospital she's at. She took an extended route to get there, but she said, I'm only 23 years old. I'm going to have student loans anyway. I might as well. So she worked really hard, paid them off, got some more, and she's doing that. But she's doing what she loves and is passionate about. It might have been easier if she found that out before she graduated. And sometimes it's hard. But there's the example. So if she had a better internship, or that internship a year before, she might have realized that this is not for her. But
so you said when you want to get into the industry, you should get an internship for public and private,
or just to see different types of businesses.
Yeah. So can you tell us like what would be like the similarities and differences between going to a public firm versus a private?
Sure. So public firm is like what we are, traditional accounting firm, where there's like audit services, tax services, and you work on a whole bunch of different companies, clients, etc. You might be just in the tax department, or you might be just in the audit department, or you might have a mix, but you work on different clients. And it's well aware that we're going to have a lot of hours in the winter. Private industry is a couple things. You might go work for a big insurance company in their accounting department or something and close books or work on sales tax, or you do similar things. Or you go work for a company like ABC Manufacturer and you're their controller, or maybe you start in like payables or receivables or payroll, and then you move up. And then when you're the controller, you have a couple people under you, but you pretty much work for one company your whole life. And you might not have our real busy season that we call it, but you have every month, you have month-end close, quarter-end close, year-end close. So at the end of the day, you still end up working a lot of hours. It's just spread out more over the year.
So for you as a public, you don't have the quarter, monthly, and yearly end closes, or you still do? You just do it for most of clients?
We do mostly, we don't do a lot of bookkeeping services here. Most of our clients do their own. We do some, but most of them. But we have like deadlines. So like March 15th is so businesses, we do individuals too, obviously. Businesses that have a December year end, their tax return is most of the time is due March 15th. If they're a partnership or an S Corp, we won't go too crazy. If they're a C Corp, it's April 15th. Then all the individuals are due April 15th. If we extend them, then the March 15th deadline is due September 15th, and the individuals are due October 15th. In the middle of all that, we have fiscal year ends. Most of the not-for-profits we do are June year ends, so they're due November 15th. Unless they get extended, they go out. In addition, we do retirement plan audits, which most of them are due July 31st, or they get extended till October 15th. So there's a lot of deadlines we have throughout the year. Our deadline, March 15th, April 15th, September, and October 15th are probably our biggest. And then the rest, it's pretty much almost every 15th of the month. It's a little crazy.
So how are you able to keep up with all these deadlines, because you have so much clients?
We have a team. They're not all mine, that's for sure. We have a team, people, and we have scheduling. In addition, we have this online tracking through our software that tells us what's due, what date, what status it's in, who has it, where it is. So thank God for that, because that's huge. Because, when there's over 2,000 individuals due April 15th, it's very easy to forget one if it's not in this tracking.
What has been like the biggest changes inside this industry in the past 20 years that you've noticed?
Oh, everything's electronic. Paperless everything. I find that things are harder though now too, because there's a lot more computer usage. So when I first started, though, I was allowed to use one of the 2 computers in the computer lab because I was young, but people would literally write numbers down on an input sheet, and then their administrative assistants would type them in. And that's how tax returns went out. Now we import trial balances, we import it into the tax software, we make sure things all balance out. However, the rules are so much more complicated than they were 30 years ago. So it's a give and take.
So what has been the biggest lesson that you learned so far?
It's a really good question. The biggest lesson: expect change and just keep learning, because nobody knows everything and it's going to change tomorrow. That's pretty much it. We have to always keep on top of things, learning, listening to the news. And no, I don't listen to everything on the news, but if it impacts tax law or accounting law, I do listen to it. Keep up to date on everything and just expect change. Like right now with all the AI coming in. So we can't have AI do our work for us. We can have AI help us with some tasks that we don't have to think about. We definitely have to think. The other thing, if we want to change thoughts this way, the biggest change to my profession right now is it used to only be compliance. Like here, you have to do all these returns, you have to do all these financial statements. With technology and AI coming, that's going to really slim down. So now we have to convince young people how to be consultants at a very young age and how to advise, consultant advise versus just do compliance work.
So how is that a very big change, like in this industry, being having to go from just compliance to being a consultant? Like, how big of a jump would that be?
It's pretty big because you have to learn strategies and planning because that's what people pay for. If a machine can do the basics, they're not going to pay us to do it. How can we strategize together and become almost like a business partner to help you grow? So they can call up and say, I'm thinking about selling my business for XYZ dollars. What is the best strategy to minimize what I have to give back versus what I get to take home to retire? Or I'm thinking about moving my business from here to here. What is the best part of it? Someone just emailed me right before I came in here that said, I think I'm going to sell my rental property. What is the best strategy, or can I do an exchange? So that's next. So it's like that. It's not just, sometimes it's count the game, but a lot of it, it's how can I get the most out of this legally and under tax law? But yes, that's how kind of that thing.
So as a leader, how are you able to help prepare the younger people working here that aren't really used to having to be consultants to get into it, become comfortable to being able to consult?
Same way as I still prepare myself. I have a very complicated transaction going on that my partner Chris is helping me with. So I listen to her. So when we go to meetings, we bring people with us. We go to client meetings, we bring people with us. Here are the questions back and forth. Here's what they're saying. Here's what we're doing. We get special projects. We sit down with them. How would you approach this? Here's how let's work on this. But the best way you can learn and the best way I could learn even was listening.
So if you were to have be able to time travel and go back to your 20-year-old self, what is some advice that you would give?
I would have studied for the CPA exam when I first got out of college instead of waiting 6 years because I would have done that. I think though I'm really happy with the path I took, but I had the opportunity to work for one of the international firms in Boston. And I had a fantastic interview when they invited me back on a bigger interview. And they wanted me to go, I don't know, 3 weeks before, but I had 3 tests that week. So I pushed it. And then when I went that it was my date, I walked in and they said, just so you know, we've already offered 100 more jobs than we have available. And we've had a lot of acceptances. So we're not offering any more positions right now. And I was like, I wanted to kick myself. But at the end of the day, I didn't have to pay Boston rent. I had a very good job and my path has turned out okay. But it's always, don't miss a chance, because I missed that chance. And I wish I hadn't missed that chance, but that's 1993. That's a long time ago. So I'm over it. Don't miss out if you can.
So you talked about you were busy, you had 3 tests.
Yeah.
So if you were to go back, like how would you have changed it? Could you talk about you were busy at that time?
I could have made it work.
Okay.
I could have picked another date. I just thought that I had to study and I got to drive to Boston. I got parked. The interview was 4.5 hours. And then, so the whole day was gone. I'm like, oh, I guess I could have stayed up till 3 a.m. studying. But in my mind, I think I took a little different route. Go after what you want to. And things back to the internship. So when I was in school, there weren't that many accounting internships. I'm really going to date myself. Okay. So I went to my advisor in college and I said, I want an internship. This was second semester junior year, the fall of junior year. And he said, we really don't have that many. It wasn't as common. And so I pulled out old school, the yellow pages. And I knew I couldn't drive into Boston. I didn't have time. So I went to school in Worcester. I went through every accounting firm in Worcester. Called every single one. Hi, do you have accounting internships? Do you have fall accounting internships? Do you have fall accounting internships? And I interviewed and I got a job for this firm. It was a very good firm. And he said to me, I don't know if he was a partner or just the director, but it was a gentleman. He said to me, I'm a Bentley guy. I go, okay. He said, I've only ever hired Bentley grads the last few years. But you wanted this more than the rest of them, so the internship's yours. So I went back to my advisor. I'm like, he's great. I said, so now what? He's write yourself a plan of what you're going to do to get credit for this. I was like, okay. So I was like, all right, I'm going to work these days. I'm going to do this. And then I had to do a paper at the end. And it was a great experience. Then they hired me back with pay during tax season. And then they hired me back full time when I graduated. So it was worth going through the yellow pages and writing. But you have to want it, right? Whatever it is, you have to want it. Now, I think there's so many companies with internships. It's not as hard and it's much more prevalent in education.
Would you say that you're a natural born leader, or would you say you had to develop those skills?
Oh, I'm the oldest of three, but no, I definitely developed them. I was not. I was much quieter and kind of go with the flow kind of person.
So what were some ways that you were able to get out of that shell of being comfortable with being quiet?
I never said I was quiet. I like to talk, but I wasn't a leader. My brother would laugh at you. I think it was just watching and listening to people and how they acted and how they interacted, as well as many years of soft skills trainings. Like we've done the whole 7 habits trainings here. We've done leadership trainings. We've done DISC profiles. And I don't know if you know what a DISC profile is. It's DISC. And like D is dominant, the red one, and like the leaders. I is the outgoing one, the friendly one. S and C are usually the typical accountants, very quiet. So the first time we did a DISC analysis, and we did it in our boardroom, I'm going to say 90% of the firm was down in the SC, the green, blue, the quiet. Me, our marketing director, and someone else was in the yellow, the I, and a couple partners were in the D. And the leader was like, this is shocking for your industry. This is how it is. And 8 years later, we did the same thing. And and he actually said my I was so funny because it was like 90% I, a little bit D. And then it inverted 8 years later as I grew in my profession. And then I was much more red and less I. Because if anything, I'm less outgoing now because I feel like I have to be more reserved sometimes. And yeah, I don't know. If you ever do that, I don't know exactly what they call it, but it's a DISC analysis.
This is like the second time someone talked about that.
Yeah.
And I want to take it and see how I would get.
I'd like to take it again now and see. I still don't think I'll ever be an SC, but I'll see. Yeah.
So we talked about how like the good moments that you've had, but what were some times where like it was like really hard, the job was really hard, and you just might have thought maybe about quitting, and you went past that?
Oh, it's a lot. Because nobody's perfect. Everyone makes a mistake. You work an awful lot of hours. Every job is going to have a good and bad day. But if you're into it more than a job and you're in a career, you're in it for the long haul, you're not going to let a bad day or a bad experience ruin years of work and effort. So there are days I've driven home from here and shook my head and be like, I don't want to come back tomorrow. And you know what? I go home, I go to sleep, I wake up, I take a shower, I drive back in here, and then it's fine. And something good could happen most of the time. And usually if you just come in and smile at someone, they smile back. So I try to be friendly because my partner Howard always says, everybody has stuff, whatever that stuff is, but it's stuff outside of this office. I know that's not the most formal thing, but whether it's kids stuff, elderly parents stuff, financial stuff, everybody's got something. And we realize that when somebody is extremely upset here, it's not 90% of the time, 95% of the time, it's not here. It's all that other stuff that's impacting them, that's something pretty small. They get upset. And even though I've had bad days here, I love the team I work with. We're all supportive. You just come back and it's fine. Sometimes it's just separating the other stuff from, and we just try to be supportive to everyone. And if they need time to deal with what they need to deal with, and I think that's important. And like, even here, like during tax season 2 years ago, I got a call that my father they were in Florida. And it was a Saturday and I was going back and forth. That night I texted my partners and I said, I have my computer. I'm hopping on a 6 a.m. flight tomorrow. I don't know when I'll be back. I have to go to Florida. And every single one of them gave me full support. And so much so that when it was 6 a.m. and I was on that plane in the morning and I had found out my father died the night before. So I'm with my brother and I'm trying to get to Florida to see my mother. And my partner, I'm like, this is what, and they're like, whatever you need, clear your schedule. You're done for the week. And because I had to go down and help my mom like figure out everything because they were only there for 2 months. So I had to figure it out. And that's like really important. And there's not one of us that hasn't had something happen where all of us jump in and say, what do you need? We're there. And so that's important.
So how are you able to build an environment to a point where your partners are willing to let you have your time where you need it to be able to separate your work and what's going on in your life?
Trust a relationship, and they know that none of us have ever taken advantage of it. And I spend more time with these guys than I do with my family. So it's a lot of trust, a lot of years of experience, and a lot of whatever you need, I'm there. They know that for whatever reason. We've all had illnesses, deaths, whatever. And my late partner, Jim, over there came in one day and he had a meeting, and it was in April of 2020, and said he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And he was basically gone the next day. And we all had to rally together. He was the managing partner of this firm. We all rallied together. We divvied up his work. We divvied up his jobs. He died a year later. But were we perfect? No. But did we do the best we could as a cohesive group? Then yes. And so you just never know when things happen.
So how are you able to build team members? Like you talked about the team like 5 times already. And how amazing.
Team's important here. Yep.
So how are you able to build team members and build a relationship with your teams to a point where like they feel welcome?
And again, somebody comes in, the first day is spent learning things. There's a lunch with everyone. Then it's training for a week, assignment of a mentor, check-ins with people. We do the best we can, but definitely including them in whatever we can. But definitely, I'm not going to mentor a brand new intern because they're going to be hesitant. But I'm going to have one of my 1 or 2 year associates work with a brand new intern who's then going to work with a senior associate who's then going to work with a manager. And I know I'm saying titles, but it's to strive to get that title. You don't speak down to anyone.
What are some common misconceptions that come with this industry?
We do have personalities. We do have personalities. We don't crunch numbers all day. We like to have fun too. And our goal is to help people. I think we're a pretty respected industry. But yeah. Oh, and the big one is we're not attorneys. So they call us all the time and ask us about law. And I'm always like, I can't comment on the law. I'm not an attorney. But yeah, I think we're all just like hardworking, good people and the importance we have, especially this newer generation, has for giving back in the community. They're so proud of it. And I think it's really exciting. Like,
I just have a couple more questions. Okay. 3. So
you're good.
In my book, I am a CEO, realistic CEO. Tony, he talks about the LBW, the long, lonely, boring work. So can you tell us about the LBW that you do inside of your career?
The long, lonely, boring work?
Yeah.
First 2 weeks of April, when I'm reviewing one 1040 after another, 14 hours a day, that does get to be long, lonely, boring work. Sometimes we see something pretty cool, like on the return, but yes, it gets monotonous and tiresome. However, it like re-energizes you sometimes too, whether it's candy or somebody does something funny, or because it is hard and tough. And it's not necessarily those 2 weeks, but like from February 15th to April 15th, it's crazy in here. And people are working all kinds of hours and they're working really hard. So what do we do? So I'm in charge of what's called the fun committee. People can work remotely if they want. Every Saturday we do something here, whether it is hiding Easter eggs with some reward in it, or we bring in Belgian waffle makers, or we bring in massage therapists every Saturday. You want a massage? You can get a 15-minute massage. Or after a deadline, doing a bowling night out, or they just did a pickleball event. We do various activities, and of course I can't think of them all now, but every Saturday there's definitely a treat during tax season, whatever that is. And it's just trying to spice it up a little. And sometimes people are tired and they're here a lot and things are funny. So we do the top 10 of tax season, and people can nominate people for what they did that was silly. And we've had some really funny things, and we do a big party at the end. So we try to lighten it up that way. In addition, there's a group, they go for walks every day, no matter what, unless the weather's awful. But they break up their day, they go for a walk. And they just did walking paths out here and things like that, just lighten it up. Sometimes it's like yoga in the kitchen, like there is different things. Or one of my team members teaches spin class 1 night a week. So she did a free spin class for everyone. You got to break it up somehow, but that's how we break it up.
Final question.
Okay.
What's one fun fact about yourself that nobody really knows?
Fun. So I would say my most fun fact about me is that, believe it or not, no one believes this for me, but we have a place in the Adirondacks of New York in the woods, and I would never really be a woods person, but I love it up there in the middle of nowhere now. And I have a side-by-side and a quad, and I go bebopping around the woods in that thing, which is cool. And the other thing that I love is country music concerts. And I just Friday took my nieces and nephews to Morgan Wallen, and I try to do things like that. The most different thing about me, which some people know now, I kept it secret for years, but in May 2026, it will be 20 years that I gave my husband a kidney. So that's different. So yeah, which was I should know this, May 3rd, 2006. So it's been 19 years.
Well, I just want to thank you again for coming.
You're welcome.
I truly appreciate you taking your time to teach me and the audience so much. So thank you.
I appreciate you, because this encouragement and excitement and passion is really cool, and I like it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That. And I appreciate every single one of you for all the support that you have shown me in this past year of my journey of becoming the realistic CEO. So ways that you can support even more is by going onto my website, www.realisticceo.com, and ordering your copy of the Realistic CEO book and the Realistic CEO podcast magazine. See you in the next episode. Peace.